Welcome to the She Builds Show. I'm your host, Stefanie Olson, a licensed general contractor who builds new construction, renovates, and designs your vision. Today, more than ever, we need raw, authentic women who are willing to rise above society's norms, break those glass ceilings, and encourage each other to boldly build the life we were meant to live. So, honey, what are you building? Welcome to the She Builds Show, Kaitie. I am so glad you are here. Can you just kind of introduce yourself in a little snippet to the audience for us?
Sure. Well, I'm Carpenter Kaitie, known on Instagram and TikTok, but Kaitie King is my name. And I'm a carpenter / kind of Jane of all trades.
Cool.
And yeah.
Awesome. Well, welcome. Can you just kind of tell me how you got into construction? Give me a little background. I don't know much about you besides, stalking your Instagram. So I just kind of want to know, where did this start? And I want to know.
It's a great question. It's a great story. It's a great story, actually.
Good. I want to hear
it. Okay. So when I was like 18 years old, I was desperate to get into this type of work. I had kind of done some schooling for it, but I didn't know much. And I was helping my friends on a roof, and their boss owned a company that traveled all over the country doing construction. And I just thought it was the coolest thing. So I applied for the job, and they looked at little old me, 18 years old, no experience, female, and they laughed and said no. But I kept coming back every day and asking, and no, kept getting no. So on the day they were leaving to go travel for a few jobs, I showed up with my suitcase and tears in my eyes. And I was like, give me a chance, please. And they were like, fine. They gave me a chance. And for the next 5 years, I was traveling the country and learning and working. And
That's amazing.
Changed my life. Yeah.
So you were like, college isn't for me. I want to go straight into working. Was there anything in your family or your history that made you want to do that? Did you have any buddy that pushed you to do that? Or was it just an interest?
Just an interest. I didn't have much family, and I kind of wanted to get away I didn't have the best life. So traveling was big to me. I didn't like where I came from. So I really was excited to get out there and find a better place, which is why I'm not there anymore. And I live in Indiana because I found it when I was traveling and I fell in love. So
that's
I made it my goal, and I eventually got out here. Yeah.
Way to go. Okay. So I was kind of looking at your Instagram a little bit. What's kind of your take on, because I struggle with this a little bit internally because I'm very hands-on, work hard, have my horses. I feel like if there's something to be done, I'll do it and I'll get dirty and I'll handle it. And 90% of the time, I'm in my jeans and boots working. But then there's this part of me that's like, okay, I kind of want to look cute today, or maybe I want to get my nails done, or maybe I want to, do whatever to make myself feel good. What's kind of your take on that as kind of owning being a woman and also being in construction? Can they be married together?
Yes, they can. It took me a while to figure out the balance, but I curl my hair before work. I don't really get a bunch of makeup on and stuff, and sometimes my curls fall out. But it just makes me feel better about myself. And then if I do go out on the weekends and stuff, I make sure I do dress up because we are women and, we need to remember that. I love being dirty. I mean, my favorite outfit is my construction outfit. It fits me. Obviously, I take a shower when I come home. I'm not dirty all the time, but it's almost like my style. But I definitely had to start balancing. I wasn't taking care of myself in a sense where self-care was starting to lack. And I was way too busy working to focus on that stuff. And I ended up realizing that in the long run, you feel better if you do. So. Right.
Just kind of honoring and not disregarding that part of you that's okay, I still am a woman and I still am beautiful. And because when you're younger and you're trying to figure yourself out and where you fit, I used to sell, I don't know what the hell that stuff was called, but it was this jewelry. And I was multi-level marketing stuff. And I had all this jewelry and I was like, wow, this is not me. I don't even wear jewelry. And but you're trying to like figure out your place. And so there's definitely a part of me that likes to, feel feminine and all of that, but still work hard. And like you said, my favorite outfit is, either my overalls or my jeans. And I just like that there's a place for us to honor that part of ourselves and not forget that, like, yeah, we can be actually beautiful women in construction and not feel like it has to be this manly thing. So I was just wondering.
Yeah. I feel like that shocks people more. The fact that, like, it took me a while to realize this, but I'm beautiful and I can do construction. They look at me like, especially if I look like this, I curled my hair and stuff. They're like, what can you do?
Right.
I can do plenty. This is going to get really messed up. Don't you worry.
Right. But just not being afraid to kind of be both people and embrace both. Well, I like that. Okay. So I'm curious about what you learned when you were like on the road, and maybe was there anything that stuck out that was like, okay, I absolutely love drywall, or I absolutely love plumbing. Was there anything that during your, it sounds like it's kind of like an internship or an apprenticeship, where you were they were teaching you. Was there anything that you loved?
I loved the pool business, and that was mainly like its own separate trade. After I left the pool business, I did get other jobs and learn different things. My favorite has to be drywall, I would say. When I owned my own business, I'm a remodeler. That is my passion, doing the whole thing, taking it down, putting it back together. If you look at my Instagram, there's a lot of my remodels on there. That's been my favorite thing I found. Out of remodels, the drywall work is like finessing. I'm an artist. I like to do stuff like that. So I enjoy it. But the whole remodel itself, that's my passion. I could do remodel after remodel. I did for years and be happy.
Oh, that's amazing. I'm totally opposite. I'm like, I don't want to touch that. But what people don't realize is that there's so much of construction that allows you to like tap into your creative side. And again, like be both of those people. Yeah, I can go do demo, but drywall is kind of like you said, it's a finessing and attention to detail. And other people may not appreciate it, but when there's bad drywall and it looks terrible, the difference is astronomical. There's good drywall finish and there's bad. And the amount of quality, I think, just like steps it up significantly when you have a good drywall job. So that's cool. I am not good at drywall. Nobody has ever taught me.
A lot of people hate it. It takes patience.
Yeah. It's like it's like painting. Yeah, exactly.
It's tedious, and you got to keep doing it. I mean, it still aggravates me. I'll be like, why do I like this? As I'm doing it. But,
it's so frustrating. It takes so long.
And the harder it is to learn, the more I appreciate it. I don't know why.
Absolutely. So when you do a remodel, are you doing like absolutely everything yourself? Do you have other people? I know you just kind of moved, and is your business kind of starting over there, or what's kind of, your plan?
Yeah, it is starting up. I've already it's easier in a small town. I just pass out business cards. My name's already kind of moving around, and my name online kind of helps too, because I got my first job. They found me on TikTok because I put all my work on there. How I got that job. As soon as I moved 1,000 miles away, typically it takes a while to get a job, and boom, I had one. Building up my business, that's just something that I've done a couple times, and I know I can do it. I'm not worried.
So are you doing like, everything yourself? Do you have help?
In the beginning, when I start up, I do everything myself, but I did have one helper that was helping me, and typically that's enough for me. And I do mainly all the skill work, and they help with all the other things. But I do bring a plumber on, or if electrical work needs to be done, if it's easy, like an outlet or something needs to be rewired, that's fine. But if it's like big plumbing and something's wrong with the plumbing, I'm calling a plumber. But I have done whole remodels and done all the plumbing, done every aspect.
That's awesome.
I do every single part, the tile, the demo.
So you're doing demo, tile, flooring, install cabinets, counters, backsplash, sinks, faucets, lights, all
mirrors,
stuff.
painting,
paint,
drywall.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So how did you learn then? Like, it sounds like that big company that you were traveling with was a pool company.
I learned from other companies, different things. And then I kind of just started teaching myself.
Yeah.
Because I got a job. When I started my business, I got a job, and my boss knew less than I did. And he kept asking me questions. And I was like, wow, I guess I'm pretty good at this. And he was like, you should start your own business. And nothing ever felt right, like more right. Like I was just good at it from the get-go.
Yeah.
And I just kept going. And I knew a little bit of everything, but I wasn't a pro at everything. So that's what I taught myself, was how to get to pro level on every little thing that I was doing in the remodel. And it took me a while. Every single remodel, I mean, if you look back, has gotten extremely better. Like they were good, but it gets better every single time because I'm teaching myself to be better and better. And I take everything as a lesson, and I've learned a lot of hard lessons, but it made me really good. So
yeah,
I'm happy I stuck it out.
How did you teach yourself? Like Google, YouTube, trial and error?
Trial and error, I would say mostly. I mean, if I had to look something up, I read up on things a lot.
Yeah.
But what I've learned is Google and YouTube doesn't trump experience. So what I do is I call somebody that I know is experienced, and I'm like, hey, I'm stuck on this. What do I do? And they tell me, and I'll be like, okay. And then I figure it out myself from there. And I make mistakes, and I go, okay, I'm never making that mistake again. And, things like that. Not huge mistakes that would cost me a job or anything, but just little things.
Where you could be more efficient. And yeah. Exactly. What do you despise doing in the remodel? Is there anything that you're like, oh, plumbing? Yeah, I know plumbing's hard.
Yeah, I hate plumbing, especially because I'm not very experienced. I can put a sink together or something. I can do a P-trap. It intimidates me because I don't know enough, and there's already enough things I've taught myself. So I'm like, leave it to the plumber.
Yeah,
I try to, but I always end up telling my customer, if your plumbing's not ruined, I can definitely set up your drain and do all of it. And then I get mad at myself for telling them that, because then I have to do it.
Right. And then it's frustrating when you do something that could take a plumber 10 minutes and it takes you 2 hours because you don't know what you're doing or how to do it exactly.
And I give them a heads up on that too. I tell the customer, it's not going to be a plumber's perfect job, but it'll take a little bit.
It'll train. Tell me, maybe if you're willing to share, one of maybe the hardest things you've been through. It sounds like you had maybe a rough situation growing up, anything that maybe you're willing to share that might encourage another person out there that you've overcome, or something like that you want to just kind of let us know?
Yeah, there's plenty of them, but I guess I could just pick one. I know my epilepsy was a big one for me. I got diagnosed with epilepsy at 7 years old, and I was having a lot of grand mal seizures. And I didn't think or the doctors didn't think that I was going to be able to use my brain properly because it was still developing with all that going on. And it really messed me up a lot, and it caused mental health issues, which I still struggle with today. I have PTSD from things that have happened to me as well. So it all kind of mixes together. But the older I got, I realized that actually the more I don't get myself out there, the more I seize, it feels like. I don't know why, but I just started fighting it, and I don't have them as much anymore, knock on wood, but it's more of a constant battle of fear. Am I going to lose my license again? Am I going to, seize while this is happening or something like that? Even if I haven't had a seizure in a year, I still have that in the back of my head. But
can you feel them coming? Do you know it's going to happen?
Yes, I can, but most of the time I can't get much out. So what I've learned to do now, because I've fallen so much and hit my head when I was younger, is lay down, or I'll sit down on the ground. That's about as much time as I have. So when people see me, let's do that, they know it's about to happen. Or if I have time, I'll scream like seizure or something. But yeah.
I don't know much about epilepsy. One of my good friends, as an adult, she had it her whole life, and she was really open about the process and raising awareness and that sort of thing. Is it something that you're just trying to, I'm just wondering, you have a platform to be able to talk about the struggles of this. Is that something that you want to do or willing to do? I'm just curious.
No, definitely. I've mentioned it a bit. I feel like I focus on my anorexia more just because I know that it's not talked about enough. And that's what I've talked about more on my platform. But if anybody wanted to reach out to me, and it can be lonely being epileptic because it's a feeling that's very scary. And if you can talk to another epileptic, it makes you feel better because they understand like, oh, you know what it feels like and you don't feel so alone. So if anybody out there is epileptic and wants to talk to me about how to get through it and stuff like that, I'd be happy to talk to people.
Do you feel like you're kind of on the other side of it, that you're like, okay, I'm managing it? Is it more of like a mental battle? Like I've accepted it and I'm going to be okay with living with it. And I'm going to have the mindset that I'm going to be okay. Is it more that, or is it like a combination of, okay, I've got the medicine figured out? I mean, I just don't know how much.
Take care of yourself. You got to take care of yourself. That's the biggest thing, because it affects your brain is affected by everything. And my anorexia obviously made my epilepsy worse, because when I almost died. All my organs shut down and everything. It was really bad.
Oh gosh.
So you can imagine how many seizures I was having then. But once I started taking care of myself, doing things that made me happy, listening to my doctor instead of being in denial because I was pissed off about the fact that I had it.
Right.
All those things kind of changed. And, once I'm happier and living a better life, I have them less. I'm lucky. Some people, have it so bad that there's no saving it. So I'm very blessed.
Do you mind if I ask you any questions about your anorexia? Are you open to that? I'm just curious.
I am.
I don't know.
I'm recovered. I'm always in here, but I'm recovered.
Yeah. How long did you kind of struggle with that?
Well,
or is this probably just like ongoing? I don't know if you ever kind of get over it, because it's very much a mental thing, right?
Yeah. Well, it's mental. And then, so when you stop eating, your brain gets malnourished. So you completely switch up. And when you get that sick, you're never the same after you recover. It's really hard. I was in the hospital for a year. I was under 100 pounds and I'm only 5 foot. So it was rough. I was getting fed through a feeding tube and everything. And like I said, once you get to that point, it's really, really hard on you mentally. It's always in the back of my head. I still have that little obsessive person in my head. I just learned how to cope and have the rational part of my brain kind of,
be like, okay, we're not going to listen to that today. How long ago were you in the hospital for that long? I'm just curious.
That was, I think, 6 years ago now.
So, I just think that's so incredible for you, having, whatever your childhood was like and being born with epilepsy. And then, probably I'm guessing the anorexia was kind of like the manifestation of you being able to probably not deal with the stuff that went on at childhood, is just my guess. And the fact that like you're doing one of the hardest things a woman can do, that is such a cool story and such an encouraging thing. And I just hope that, your Instagram blows the hell up, because people need to hear that, like what you've done and what you've been through, and then what you are doing now to encourage other women, that no matter like where they've been or what they've been through, or all of the things that can be overcome. And like you're living proof of that. And you have like, I wish I had 3 hours to hang out with you and tell me all the gory details, because I like love vulnerability. And I love that you're, just kind of like a walking testament, that because you could have chosen anything. You could have been like, okay, I'm going to go be, the secretary at the DMV because I can't, move around or use my body. And instead, like you chose something that's physical and demanding and hard. And maybe, it's just the perfect fit for you because you get to work with your hands, and, you have to feed your body right and take care of yourself mentally to be able to interact with customers and be strong enough. So that is so cool. Thank you for sharing to a complete stranger.
Oh, it's fine. I share my story online for a reason. It's helped a lot of people, apparently. So that's why I continue to do it, because honestly, when it started helping so many people and I started seeing it affecting others, that's kind of what helped me come out of my anorexia and everything. Because I was like, wow, if I can help other people, it makes me feel like I didn't go through it for nothing. I went through it so that I could help somebody else and tell them, to not do what I did and hopefully save somebody's life, which I've had people cry to me and tell me I've saved their lives. And that is worth everything, even if I don't blow up.
I know. Right. I think that that's so important. And you know what? Also being vulnerable enough and being willing to share your story, actually, I think keeps you more accountable to yourself and to your growth. It's like I shared my story and I told them, like I'm on this path. I have to stay the course, for that person and to stay strong for them. And I think when we shed light onto the darkness, and we stay in the light, then it's so much more easy to grow and to move forward and continue on that path rather than like when nobody knows about it and we have all these secrets, it's so much easier to just shrink back into the dark and continue our patterns. So I'm really just proud of you. It's amazing.
Thank you.
Of course. Okay. So with that, I do have a question. What is one thing right now that you are just super proud of?
The fact that I actually did it. Like I'm here.
You
I'm in Indiana. I've been dreaming of this for so long. And
that's awesome.
I'm so happy.
Why Indiana? And like, why was there, a dream and why did it take so long?
Well, the country life has always been where my heart is happy. And small towns, something about them. I've been drawn to them since I was a kid. My grandmother took me when I was like 10 years old and I stayed in West Virginia. I stayed in Copa and I fell in love with the accent. I fell in love with everything. I was just in love. And once I actually came here, I made some friends and I knew people. I don't know. I fell in love with the place. And it's too busy in Massachusetts. It's too expensive. There's so much I'm not hating on it, but I'm all set. Population minus me.
Yeah.
To
be able to just go and be in a place and surroundings that just kind of feel healing and make your heart happy. I'm a country girl too. I couldn't be in a city. It like makes me, I get like anxiety when there's like more than 2-lane road. I'm like, we have 4 lanes on each side of the highway. Oh dear God. I can't handle it.
I have a good heart. So like being in the city when you have a good heart is hard. People take advantage a lot.
Yeah. I know, it's interesting. We were just in Washington and it was like really small town. My husband's aunt just passed away and we just got back last night. That's why had to reschedule today. But it's so different when you're in a small town and people like notice you and say hi and are so kind. And, then we like came home and like got like off the airplane and started driving home. And there's like 4 people like cut us off. Then like a minute, my husband's like, this terrible place. I'm like, I know we need to go home because we landed, we landed in the big city and then drive out. But okay. So I just want to thank you again for just being here and sharing with us. Can you just tell people where they can find you and follow you?
Carpenter Kaitie is pretty much my name on everything. So TikTok and Instagram are my main platforms. Just look up Carpenter Kaitie, Kaitie.
Yeah, I knew you had an extra I in there. I know it's like my spelling.
That's why I always specify.
Awesome. Well, anything else you want to share or say before we hit the road?
No, I'm just glad you had me on here. And I hope, my message keeps reaching out to people. And if anybody ever has any questions, feel free to message me.
Or if anybody needs a remodel done in Indiana. What town are you in Indiana?
Clinton, Indiana.
Clinton? Is that what you said?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, awesome. Well, thank you so much, Kaitie. I hope that you are just showered with business and you just keep the course. And thank you for being here. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for joining me today on the She Build Show. My name is Stefanie Olson. My hope is that this episode leaves you feeling empowered and ready to boldly take that step into building the life that you envision, 1 2x4 at a time. And if you can do me a quick favor, please leave me a 5-star review on iTunes. I get giddy over reading the reviews each week, and I will choose one special person to win some She Build swag. Make sure you add your name to the review, and I'll reach out if you're the winner. Thanks again for hanging out. Be sure to visit me at theshebuildshow.com, where you can ask me questions and share with me what you're building.